Now let's look at how to arrive at the shape of the ellipse given a equation. Now if x comma y lies on the ellipse, then if we substitute y with minus y and x with minus x, we still arrive at the same solution. So which means they also lie on the ellipse. So in other words, we can say that the ellipse is symmetric with respect to x-axis and y-axis, and the axis of symmetry are the axis of ellipse, that is x-axis, that is y equal to 0, is an axis of the ellipse and it's called the major axis. Y-axis, that is x equal to 0, is called the minor axis. Now the major axis meets the ellipse at, let's say, a at a comma 0 and a prime at a comma 0. So now, which means if this is the x and y coordinates, it is symmetric with respect to x and y axis. I am drawing it roughly. So major axis meets the ellipse at a comma 0 and at a dash minus a comma 0. So a dash. Similarly b dash. Similarly minor axis meets the ellipse at b 0 comma b and b dash at 0 comma minus b. So which means the ellipse has 4 vertices, plus or minus a comma 0 and 0 comma plus or minus b, and the distance between a dash is going to be 2a, and between b dash it will be 2b. So this is the length of the major axis and length of the minor axis. Now if x comma y lies on the ellipse, also implies, in case of an ellipse, that minus x minus y also lies on the ellipse. That means it is symmetric with respect to origin, and every chord is bisected at origin. So basically what that means is that if you draw a chord through origin, doesn't matter which, this would be equal to this, this would be equal to this. That means the two parts of the chord cut by the origin, they will be equal, and we call this point as the center of the ellipse is the origin. Due to symmetry, we can draw the ellipse by having the directrix to the right or the left of the origin. So if we drew it like this is the directrix and this is the center, origin, we will get the same ellipse. We will get an ellipse, and if we draw using a directrix on this side, we will get the same ellipse because of this symmetry. So therefore an ellipse has two focal points. So one on this side and one on this side. Two focal points and two directrix. So therefore coordinates of the foci are AE, 0 and S dash minus AE, 0. So this is S, this is S dash. And naturally, which means that S dash, the distance between them, would be 2AE. And the equations of the directrix are going to be x equal to A by E and x equal to minus E, A by E. And the distance between these directrices is going to be 2A by E. Okay. Another aspect. This is our formula, x square by A square plus y square by B square equal to 1. Now, if the sum of these two terms have to be 1, then each individual term has to be less than 1. Yes? So which means x square has to be less than or equal to A square. And y square has to be less than or equal to B square. So which means x has to lie between minus A and A. And which also means that y has to lie between minus B and B. So if we convert these into lines, x equal to minus A is a line, x equal to A is a line. Similarly, y equal to minus B and y equal to B. And so which means that the ellipse is going to be bounded by these lines which actually form a rectangle. So the ellipse would be bounded by the, let's say these are the lines, right? Then our ellipse would be inside that rectangle. So which means it is a bounded curve. Now remember, we have already seen that it has two foci. So we have two focal chords parallel to the directrices. Therefore, there are two latera recta with the equation as x is equal to plus or minus AE. The end points of the latera recta would be the solution to x equal to plus or minus AE and x square by A square plus y square by B square equal to 1. So if we solve these two, then we'll get the points where the latera recta and the ellipse meet, and that is nothing but the end points of the latera recta. So let's substitute x square. So x is AE plus or minus. So when we say x square, that minus also becomes plus. So A square E square by A square plus y square by B square equal to 1. A square gets cancelled. E square plus y square by B square equal to 1. Y square is equal to 1 minus E square, which basically implies that y square is equal to B square times 1 minus E square. Now we know y square is equal to, we know 1 minus E square is nothing but B square by a square, so which is equal to y. Let's take the square root of this. So this becomes b to the power of 4 by a square, and we take the square root, plus or minus. So which implies y is equal to b square by a plus or minus. So the end points of LR are plus or minus AE, plus or minus b square by a, and the length of the LR latus recta would be b square by a plus b square by a equal to 2b square by a. Another interesting aspect, let's have an ellipse. Let's say this is an arbitrary point. This is one focus, this is another focus. So let's say this is S, this is S dash. This is one directrix, this is another directrix. And let's drop a perpendicular to the directrices. And let's extend this. So basically the interesting aspect is that if we connect an arbitrary point to the two foci, then the sum of the focal distances, so let's say this is P, so PS plus PS dash is equal to the length of major axis. Okay, let's see how we can prove that. Let's say an ellipse, we have got two foci at S and S prime. SP and SP dash are called the focal distance of P. So which means, and we know SP by PM, so here M is, this is M dash and this is M. So SP by PM equal to E, which implies SP is equal to E dot PM. Similarly, SP dash by PM dash is equal to E, which implies that SP dash equal to E dot PM dash. Now let's add these two. Adding, we get SP plus S dash P. Why we are adding? Because here the interesting aspect says that the sum of these two is equal to the length of the major axis. So E times PM plus PM dash, or we can say E dot M dash. PM plus PM dash is nothing but the distance between PM M dash. Why? Because P, M and M dash are collinear. That means they lie on the same line, M, P and M dash, which is equal to E dot the distance between directrices. And the distance between directrices is, we know, 2A by E. E gets cancelled and we are left with 2A, which is nothing but the length of major axis. Okay, a circle is a limiting form of an ellipse. Now, if E equal to 0, what happens? OS by OA is equal to E, which means OS equal to EOA. So which means OS is equal to 0. Similarly, OS dash is equal to E dot, or let's say OA dash equal to E. So OS prime is equal to E dot OA prime. And since E is 0, OS prime is equal to 0. So which means OS and OS dash move to the origin of the ellipse. So instead of two foci, we end up with one focus which is equal to the center. So P square is equal to A square 1 minus E square. We know this. A square 1 minus 0. That means A square. B square equal to A square, which means B equal to A. So now if we do the substitution in the equation of the ellipse, x square by A square plus y square by, now instead of B square, we write A square itself because it is equal to 1. So let's take the LCM, x square plus y square equal to 1, and we get x square plus y square is equal to A square. This is nothing but a circle. Now let's look at an example. Let's say the equation that is given to us is x square by 25 plus y square by 9 equal to 1. Remember, this is x square by A square plus y square by B square equal to 1. So A is equal to 5. B is equal to 3. A is greater than B. So therefore, standard form of ellipse. Center of the ellipse is going to be 0, 0. Vertices would be plus or minus 5, 0 and 0, plus or minus 3. Major axis would be y equal to 0 and the length of the major axis is going to be 2a, which is 2 times 5, that is 10. Similarly, minor axis be x equal to 0 and the length of the minor axis would be 2b, which is 6. Now the lengths of latus recta would be 2b square by a. So 2b square is 9 by 5, which is 18 by 5. Eccentricity would be square root of 1 minus b square by a square. So 1 minus b square is 9 by 25, which is equal to square root of 25 minus 9 by 25, which will be square root of 16 by 25, which is 4 by 5. The foci would be at plus or minus AE, 0. So which is nothing but plus or minus 5 times 4 by 5, 0. 5 gets cancelled, so 4, 0. Distance between foci be 2AE, which will be 2 times 5 times 4 by 5, 8. Now the equation of directrices would be x is equal to plus or minus a by e. So which means x is equal to plus or minus a is 5 by e is 4 by 5, which is equal to plus or minus 25 by 4. Distance between directrices will be 2 times this. So 2a by e. So which is 2 times a by e is 25 by 4. So 2, 2. So it will become 25 by 2. Now equation of LR will be x is equal to plus or minus AE. So x equal to plus or minus 5 times 4 by 5. So x is equal to plus or minus 4. That is the equations of LR. And finally end points of LR is plus or minus AE comma plus or minus B square by A. So which is equal to plus or minus AE is 4 comma plus or minus B square is 9 by A is 5. So knowing all this, it's very easy to draw the graph. I think that's enough for today. Bye for now.